All right, you guys, welcome to the listening room. I'm Eddie Booze, and today my guest is up in the corner right here, Mr. Thomas Tulak. How you guys doing today? Good to see you, Thomas.
I'm doing good. How you doing, buddy?
Excellent, brother. Excellent. Okay, let me get a little something going here. All right, you guys. So, if there's any audio issues today like there was yesterday, please let me know. There shouldn't be. I did a nice long test stream earlier today and last night, and hope everything is fixed. So, here we go. All right. So I'm gonna start the show off the way I always start the show off, with a little bit of gratitude. So today I want to say I am so happy and grateful that I am worthy of my desires. And I've said this before. This has actually been the first repeat of something I'm grateful for in the show, because it's always something that I tend to have to prime myself for. And sometimes, we intrinsically feel like we're not worthy of the things that we want, so sometimes you have to remind yourself, I'm worthy of my desires. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm worthy of my desires. So today I am so happy and grateful that I am worthy of my desires. And so Thomas, why don't you tell me something you're grateful for today, my brother?
Yeah, sure. That was beautiful, man. I know that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is feeling worthy of the thing they desire.
Sure.
My grateful thing today, I'm going to say I'm grateful that things aren't as bad as they could be. I mean, I know a lot of just horrible stuff is going on in the world, and things are pretty bad, but they could always be worse. Like, just before the lockdown and the quarantine happened, I moved into a new apartment with my fiance, and we're comfortable, and I know a lot of people have a lot more of a difficult situation dealing with everything. And yeah, work and income and everything is an issue, but as bad as things get, it could always be worse. And I'm grateful that things aren't that worse.
I love it, brother. I love it. Good to see everyone today. Ray, Austin, Thomas, Mike, everyone who's watching. Good to have you guys all with us today, you guys. And Thomas, I really like that. You can always appreciate that. The fact of where you are and being able to just appreciate, having a roof over your head and appreciate the small things in life. And that's huge. Great to see Jessica, everybody out there. Thanks for joining us on the listening room. Today we got a song for you guys. We were supposed to do Next Page, which is the song you're going to hear now, last night. We had some audio issues, so we had to cut the show a little early. So we're going to go ahead and show you guys the song Next Page from Running Rogue. Here we go, you guys.
This life is wonderful. This story hasn't said. Come on and take me away. This life is wonderful. This story hasn't said. Come on and take me away. Oh, coming home. We leave on roads of deep
All right, you guys, we're back. And that was Next Page. Austin asked me if I did this song recently. I actually did this song in like probably 3 or 4 years ago. But yeah, I recorded that with Nick Lee and Rob Wheeler and Kevin Kablau from Running Rogue. Nick was my guest on Monday, and like I said to you guys, we were going to show you that song yesterday, but some things got a little messed up. I wasn't able to do that, so but I got my guest today, Mr. Thomas Tulak, and I wanted to talk to you, my man. I'm so glad to have you on. I'm so glad to talk to you about some of the things you've been doing. And so Thomas, what have you been doing lately? Like, I want you to tell them. Like, why don't you tell them? Because I actually got to sit with you recently and watch a full season of one of the television shows that you're currently a part of right now, and I absolutely loved it. I remember pausing it like 8 times throughout the season and just like really thoroughly enjoying this. So why don't you tell people about not only that, but everything else you've been working on lately, and then we'll kind of get into some of your history.
Sure, yeah. So that show, it's called Real Acting. It's an office style mockumentary about an acting class. And so if you're an actor, if you've ever been to an acting class, if you've ever even like been interested in that arena, then this show is for you. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of funny. Season 1 is on Amazon Prime right now, and for season 2, my character becomes more of a lead, and I was brought on to the writing staff, so I'm really excited about season 2. And we wrapped production right just before, like a month before quarantine started, and the lockdown started, and everything got shut down. So just barely in under the wire, man.
Gotcha.
Which means season 2 will be out at some point in the future when lockdown eases up and people can get back to work on doing those kind of things.
Right.
So it's an acting class, and it's all amateur actor, trying to be actors. And my character is friends with the teacher, but I'm the only one who's an actual SAG working actor. So I'm just kind of there to smugly judge the rest
Yeah, exactly.
and then in season 2, my character becomes the teacher, and it's a lot of fun.
I love it.
I'm really looking forward to when season 2 can get out and be seen by people.
So you can watch season 1 currently on Amazon Prime right now. Just search Real Acting Season 1 and you'll find it. The episodes are hilarious. I think there's 10 episodes in the first season. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was hilarious. There was a lot of really fun characters in it, and I really liked how it was really kind of self-contained, and it wasn't, it didn't, go, you didn't need a million locations, and a bunch of special effects. You just needed a really smart, fun, idea, cool characters, and a good script, and you guys kind of nailed it, and I feel like a lot of people should check it out if you guys are into comedy. And to be honest with you, like, I really don't feel like comedy hasn't been as saturated in the last few years as it has been maybe like back in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? So like,
yeah, comedies don't tend to prevail in the mainstream when it's just comedy. Usually the comedy is mixed with something else. It's comedy, but it's also action, or comedy, but it's also sci-fi.
Right.
Just comedy for the sake of comedy by itself it's a lot more difficult. So it's a lot more rare. But the charm of this show, like you said, it all takes place in the acting class in the one room, and it's just comedy for the sake of comedy. Season 2, there is kind of a bit of a storyline, but it's still just having fun for the sake of having fun with the concept of the acting class.
I dig it. I totally dig it. So let's go ahead now. So we've been talking about Real Acting Season 1. Let's go ahead and show everyone the trailer from Season 2, you guys. So check out Season 1 on Amazon Prime, and we're going to go ahead and check out the trailer for Real Acting Season 2. Here we go.
Daniel! Lawrence? Is that you?
Teacher. Ex-teacher.
Oh, it's me. Awkward. I took over because I had to. Who else do you think could have done it? Gus? He can barely tie his shoes. Hey.
If you're good enough, you could book a guest star role on the show.
Holy shit. You know our history. She drives me crazy. She drives everyone crazy.
Scream cream! I know. Because I followed you.
You know, I thought this was a safe environment, man.
You bitch!
Well, I just shot in your office, homeboy.
Oh, yeah.
I demand an act off!
What the fuck is an act off?
No, I'm working, Mommy. Jane?
I did want to audition at first, but then I just wanted to see the battle.
Yes, an act off is a foolish thing, but there's something really sexy about two men competing for something you have.
That was great. That looks really good, dude.
Thanks. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the second season, especially after I got to see the first season. Let's see, Miss Daisy, what do you think about that?
I love it.
All right, we're back. Miss Daisy loves it. All right. What the fuck is that act off?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Man. It was a lot of
dude, it was awesome. It was awesome. So let me talk a little bit about your history, Thomas. So you were so I'm sure everyone out there remembers the movie Hook with Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman as Captain Hook, and so Thomas was actually one of the Lost Boys in the movie Hook. He was he got to play the youngest Lost Boy. And so Thomas, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about what it was like to be not only a child actor, but in one of the most prevalent movies, like to shape many childhoods. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about that?
So I was 6 years old when we made that film, and I had no idea what was going on. To me, it was just playtime. It was just the biggest, play place that you could possibly have, because it was one of the last films that actually had, the big real sets that were actually built instead of like a green screen. So the Never Tree and the pirate ship and all that was really there. And I was just having fun, I really did not. And then with all the people and the heavyweights and the big names that were in that film, I had no idea the weight of the names of the people I was working with. I was working alongside Robin Williams, Steven Spielberg, Dustin Hoffman. I didn't know who these people were. I was 6, and Robin Williams was like the best older brother playmate that you could possibly have. All the stories, everything you've heard about him, he's a great spirit, a great soul, and he and I used to play like he would come to my trailer when we weren't filming. He would knock on the door. My mom would answer, and he'd say, "Can Tommy come out to play?"
Dude, that's so cool.
Ball or something. So that movie came out, and things were never quite the same. Even after that, I've learned in recent years with the advent of like social media and stuff like that how much of an impact that movie had, and I'm so grateful that I can be part of such a thing that's such special for so many people, and be a meaningful part of people's childhoods. I keep hearing it all the time from all kinds of different people about how much that movie meant to them growing up, and that means the world to me to know that I touched so many, or I was part of something that touched so many people.
Sure.
So like to me though, it's not so much a movie, because I'm a filmmaker, so I watch a lot of movies, I make a lot of movies. That movie is more like old home videos than it is a movie.
Interesting.
So I watch it, and I just remember what it was like to be there on the set, and I remember the smells of the set, and I remember the sounds, and what it was like backstage, and all the fun times that we had. I was on set for 7 months,
dude,
and we had my birthday party during that time, and I attended Robin's party and Dustin's party, and Dustin Hoffman, for his birthday, he gave out copies of Horton Hears a Who as read and narrated by him.
That's so cool.
So,
that's pretty awesome, dude.
Yeah, man. So it was just a lot of fun. I'm so grateful to have been part of something so special.
Sure.
And I do have I have here sitting on my desk is I use it to hold my pencils, but this is I don't know how well you can see it in the camera. This was a goblet that
pull it back a hair, a little bit more, and put it in the middle. It's like the blur effect is yes. I love it. Put it in front of your face. Put it right in front of your face. There you go.
So this was
Dope.
an actual set used. This was on screen. This was an actual set used goblet that I got to keep after production was done, and they engraved it with my name and all that on there.
That's rad, dude.
It sits on my desk and holds my pencils.
I love it. That's super cool. Ray asks, what was Dustin like?
So Dustin, I didn't get to spend as much time with Dustin as I got to spend with most of the other people. He's very subdued. And you wouldn't expect that to see like his on-screen presence, but when the camera's not rolling, he's very quiet, very subdued is the only word I can come to think. Whereas Robin is running around and hyperactive and caffeine and excited, Dustin was more just like hanging out, almost a wallflower. I mean, he's a cool guy, but he's just kind of like super chill.
Interesting. And making that movie, yourself, all the Lost Boys together, did you guys, form a bond? Did you guys hang out at all? Did you guys start to, get to know each other a lot, or was it just kind of business?
I mean, so you see that a lot in other such ensemble casts where that happens. That didn't necessarily happen to that degree here, and I think the reason for that is there's a massive age gap. I was 6, and I was the youngest, and the oldest was Rufio, who was 17. And so there was a hugely massive age gap there, which contributed to we didn't really. I mean, we all still talk, we all keep in contact,
Cool.
and we have gotten together a couple of times over the years. But I tend to spend more time talking to the guys that are closer to my age, as opposed to the older ones. And the older kids tend to spend more, time talking to themselves.
Sure. What was it? How did you? Why don't you tell everyone out there how you got the job as the youngest kid? Because I remember you telling me that initially Spielberg was only looking for 9 and up, and you were 6
Yep.
at the time. So what happened? How did you land that?
So I have this kind of thing, this mindset where whenever I see somebody doing something, I think I can do that too, and if they can do it, I can do it. So when I was exactly, there's no reason why not, right? So I used to always tell my mom, I can do that too, and I remember for months and months I kept saying, I can do this, I can act. I see those people acting, I can act too. And so I remember the movie that finally did it was 3 Men and a Little Girl. The sequel to 3 Men and a Baby.
Sure.
And I watched that film with my mom, and I said to my mom, I could have played a better little girl than that little girl. And so that led to her finding, and this being, 20-something years ago, industry was significantly different back then than it is now. So that led to her finding open casting calls, open talent searches, and I went on a bunch of auditions. I went on this one for the company that ended up taking me, and they interviewed 500 kids. I was one of 50 that got called back, and then I was one of only 2 that they took on as clients.
Wow.
And then I went on a couple of smaller things, like I did a shoot for the cover of TV Guide, and
Wow.
I was in some of these there was like ensemble music videos for "Can You Tell Me Who the Heroes Are" and "We Are the World," and there's like a chorus, a choir, and I'm in that. But then the first real thing I went on the audition for Hook. My agency got word that Spielberg was looking for kids, and they sent me on, and they knew that he was only looking for 9 and up because under 9 tends to be a little bit, harder to take direction.
Sure.
But they sent me anyways, and I'll never forget this either. I waited in Spielberg's waiting room, it was like an arcade. In his waiting room, he had, and I don't think it was just for the kids, I don't know, but he had like 6 or 8 arcade-style video games, and I thought it was the coolest thing that it didn't require a quarter. You just walk up, you hit the button, and you start playing. And so I waited there for probably 20, 30 minutes, and then I got into his office, and this was this big, like, Monty Burns from The Simpsons style office with this really long table, and Steven sat at the head of the table, and a bunch of people who I don't know who they were standing around him. And I was supposed to come to the other end of the table and just like read, but I waltzed all the way down the table. I waltzed all the way up to Steven. I pounded on the table and I said, "You want to put me in your movie?" And he did.
That's awesome.
When we got home that night, there was a message on our answering machine saying, "Come for a callback."
Awesome.
And then there you go.
That's really cool, dude. So, no, man, that's cool. Austin down here asks, so your character's name, he said he hasn't seen that movie in forever. Mm-hmm. So he wants to know, so he can put 2 and 2 together.
They never say my character's name in the film.
Okay.
My character's name was Too Small. It was originally Ziggy, but they changed it to Too Small halfway through production. You'll only ever see that name. You'll only ever hear that name if you look in the credits and see my name and then my character name. But my character, what I'm most well known for, is I'm the one that spit out the candle and yelled "Goodnight Neverland."
Right. Ray, when Austin asked that question, right before you answered, Ray commented down here and said Too Small was his name.
I see that. Nailed it.
That's awesome, dude. So you and I shot something together not too long ago, and why don't you tell everyone kind of a little bit about the project we worked on together?
So we worked on a Star Wars fan film called The Saber, and this has been a passion project of mine for a while now. I wrote and directed it, and you played one of the lead characters in it, and we are very close to being finished with it. Mm-hmm. And I'm very excited to be able to play a sneak preview of it for our audience right now. It is like a Star Wars fan film, but it's unlike any other Star Wars fan film or any other Star Wars film in general that you've seen before. In this film, the idea is the events of the Star Wars films actually happened in a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago, and that's ancient history. And we are now on present-day Earth in that world. So the Force is real, all of that is real, but we're now, and that's in the past. And that war ended with the Jedi losing and the Sith winning, and now the use of the Force is outlawed. So the only people that can use the Force are the bad guys.
Sure.
And that leads to Jedi being extinct. Force users are extinct because anytime they sense a Force user, they go and hunt them down and kill them. And that leads to lightsabers being so rare and so underused that the kyber crystal inside the saber shuts down. And so now, if you were to find a lightsaber, it would not activate for you unless you were strong with the Force.
Right. Okay.
And so I know it's a bit of a stretch, but
no, I dig it. I love it. It was really fun shooting, and I really actually liked I liked the story. I liked the fact that it was now. It's set in present day L.A. Present day Long Beach. And as if Star Wars was a part of our real history.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I really wanted to bring the Star Wars ethos to the now and place it here. Because you see Star Wars fan films, they're either on a spaceship or they're in like a forest or a desert. I really wanted to see where I lived represented in a Star Wars film, you know? Sure. So, and then I really wanted to focus on a good story. That's the other thing you always see with Star Wars fan films it feels like it's just an excuse to have a lightsaber duel, but I wanted to have a good story, you know?
Sure.
So I feel like we have a really good story, and I'm very happy that it takes place on present-day Earth in Long Beach. So we're really close to having this finished and ready to get out there and ready for people to see it. And it's been a labor of love for a while now, and I'm very excited that we have a little bit of it that we can share with some people.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm stoked about that too, brother. So why don't we go ahead and take a quick look at a scene from the Saber. So why don't you go ahead and tell everyone, kind of preface the scene so we know what we're about to watch here.
We're about to actually watch the opening scene of the film. It's going to be the first, 3 or 4 minutes of the film. It's a 20-minute long film, so we're only getting a small piece of it. But what's really cool about this, Eddie didn't just act in it, but the score of the scene is Eddie also. So
awesome, cool.
Yes. So we're about to see kind of like I said, it's the opening scene, so it's kind of setting the world, you know, and building the world, setting the scene for the story that's about to unfold.
Stoked. Okay, cool. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first few minutes of The Saber. All right, I had to stop that one, and here we go.
Force users were discovered late last night by the police. Authorities claim that the cultists spoke of a Jedi temple run by members of the Jedi religion who closed themselves off from the Force to avoid detection. They were put to a swift death on the spot by Darth Van Aden himself. Authorities urge anyone with knowledge of such a temple to come forward. Riots broke out today at the Terran Rights March when an alien bystander was attacked by human protesters. Tensions mount as the new arms race sees the former superpowers of the world competing to create new Death Star technology for the conversion of the moon into the new Death Star moon base.
Open up, please.
What are the troopers doing here?
Calm down. We're not doing anything wrong.
That doesn't matter. Don't answer the door. Hey, don't.
Shh. What choice do I have? Yes? What?
Back up.
What is this?
Don't move.
A disturbance in the Force has been detected within this home. Cooperate and identify it, and you may be unharmed.
There is no Force here. I'm sorry, but you've made a mistake.
There has been no mistake.
There's nothing here.
Search the house.
Yes, sir.
Your cooperation will make this go a lot easier for both of you.
Both bedrooms are empty.
Search the backyard.
Yes, sir.
You're making this a lot harder on yourselves than it needs to be.
Back here.
No. 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 Please. Please, no.
Monster.
Bring them.
Sick. Stoked. That looks good, dude.
Thanks.
Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it, man. It's I haven't seen it, so it's it should be good, dude. I'm looking forward to it. It was really fun to film, actually.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. It was a whole lot of fun to put together.
So did you
And
did you write that too?
yeah, I wrote the script, I directed it, and I am editing it as well.
Nice.
And we are so close to being finished. We just have a small handful of special effects shots, the more complicated ones, like you saw in that. He's throwing the lightsaber up in the air at the end of that scene. That was just a temporary placeholder because we got to do the 3D modeling. I didn't want to actually take this expensive lightsaber prop that we had and throw it up in the air.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
So some of those more complicated effects like that, there's only like a handful of those left. And then we'll finally be done with the film and we can get it out there. We're so close.
So stoked. I can't wait. Okay, Thomas. So let's go ahead and show. I want to show them one of your other works here. And what we're about to look at is a short film that Thomas directed titled Red Rum. Why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about that before we go ahead and watch it?
Okay, sure. So it's this was a very fun concept. I completed this film at the end of last year, and I submitted it to a whole bunch of film festivals. And all of those film festivals have now been canceled because of the quarantine lockdown. So I don't know the status of my submission. I don't know what's going to happen with the festivals. You know, a lot of them were still considering, were still open for entries, and now they're all canceled because we can't get together in groups of more than 10 people.
Right.
But so this short film, I loved this idea so much. It's kind of a take on The Shining and the Red Rum, and Red Rum is murder backwards, and so it's about this girl who's just enjoying a book and a glass of wine on her night off, and gets a visit from an unruly ghost.
All right, that sounds awesome. All right, let's check it out. This is Red Rum.
Hello? Katie, is that you? Hello?
Red rum.
Someone there?
Help me.
I can hear you whispering.
Red rum. Help me.
too much wine. Why is it so cold in here? What the hell is going on here?
Bedroom.
You're gonna murder me!
What? No, I'm just looking for the cherry flavored rum. Have you got any?
We don't have any of the red rum. We just have the brown spiced rum.
Oh man, that sucks.
There's red wine in the living room.
I'm not much of a wine guy, but alright. Oh yeah, that wine is awful. Guess I'm going to your sister's house.
What the hell?
And that book you're reading sucks. She dies in the end.
Asshole.
All right, that was awesome. So, Thomas, it's been so awesome and wonderful having you guys on, having you on today. It's been wonderful seeing all of you guys. My apologies on the slight audio delay on my shot. Thomas, looks like you've been great the whole time. Looks like your shot's been perfect. So it's just my shot. I've had a little audio, debacle here, but I'll figure this out. Like I said, I had my settings messed with the other day, so I got the audio issue figured. Now I gotta figure out this delay thing, so I'm not getting that anymore. So you guys have been completely amazing. I love you guys. We are going to be live here at 8 p.m. with myself, Mr. Dave Burns, and Mr. Robert Kaisers on fiddle. Dave Burns is going to be on the banjo. Robert Kaisers is going to be on the fiddle. And stoked to see you guys around here at 8. Come have some fun with us. Thanks for joining us so much on the listening room. Thanks so much to my guest, Mr. Thomas Tulak, over here. Wait, up this way. Yes. It's always backwards on the screen. There you go.
Okay.
All right, my brother. I love all you guys. I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much, Thomas. Have a wonderful evening, you guys. Thank you all. Love you all.
Bye, guys.